Hey, it's Angela.
Hey, it's Richie here, and we're with your Week 14 college football pick and previews. It's an interesting week, so we kind of split up the videos. We're doing the conference championship games. We did another video where it's just the 6 regular season games that are makeup games for the hurricanes and the wildfires and stuff that happen. But now these are conference championship. These we want to do it for themselves because these are important. You're winning a championship. Some of them are relevant towards the playoff picture. So let's just jump into it. On Friday night, there's 2 of them. The first one is actually the MAC championship game, Northern Illinois Huskies versus Buffalo. Buffalo, they've had their best season in their history. They're 10 wins already. I think is already a school record in a season. I was looking at this game. Northern Illinois, the past 7 or 8 years, they've been in the MAC championship game almost every single season. So they've been in there. They kind of have underperformed compared to their standards. They're 7-5, but they were good enough to win, to get into the MAC championship game. And I was trying to figure out the edge. Buffalo, if you just look at them on paper, yeah, they're really good on offense. Good receiver, Anthony Johnson. Good 2 receivers, actually. Their quarterback is a giant quarterback that can throw it all over the place. Northern Illinois' defense is a top 25 defense. And Buffalo's offense is basically a top 25 offense. So strength versus strength. And then I looked at the other side. Buffalo's defense is also top basically 40 or 30 defense. And Northern Illinois' offense is way down in the hundreds, 122nd. So I think the edge here goes to Buffalo. They got the weapons. They got the defense. Northern Illinois, they're still proud. They're still good. They're in there for a reason. They'll give them a game, but I think Buffalo ends up with it.
I'll go for Buffalo.
The other Friday game, Pac-12 championship game, Utah Utes and Washington Huskies. This actually could be really, really good. Both defenses are very solid. Washington has a senior quarterback who's been there for 4 years, set all kinds of Washington records, Pac-12 records, whatever. Their running back, Myles Gaskin, he's I think he's close or over. He's over 1,000 yards. First Pac-12 player to do that 4 years. One of the best in Pac-12 history at running back. Then you go to Utah. Their quarterback a few weeks ago was hurt, out for the season. Their running back, Zach Moss, the 1,000-yard rusher, he was hurt and out for the season, but they still won their 2 games with basically freshman players or backup players. Their defense is always one of the best nationally. Both defenses are. The coach for both teams, Utah, always has them going. This is a really hard game. Washington had a bit of an upset against their rival Washington State in order to get into this game. This really probably should go. This is even. This could be a game that's 28 to 20, 28 to 17. So I don't know. That's probably close. In the end, I'm gonna give the slight edge to Washington. But this one is really tough to pick. As a conference championship game should be tough to pick.
If you go to Washington, then I'll go for Utah.
Yeah. All right, going into the Saturday games, the Big 12 championship games between Texas and Oklahoma. It's Red River rivalry all over again. Earlier this year, they played each other. Offensive shootouts, what the Big 12 does. Texas ended up winning 48-45. I think this game will be different. Oklahoma, Kyler Murray, he's a Heisman candidate for sure. He's averaging well over 300 passing yards a game and over 60 rushing yards a game, which if he continues that through the rest of this season, that will be an NCAA record. No players ever averaged that throughout the course of an entire season. So, and they have all kinds of weapons. They're one of the best offenses in the country. Texas, even though they beat them, they have a pretty good quarterback in Ellinger. They have some good receivers. In my opinion, I feel like Texas has kind of floundered a little bit the last few weeks. They won, but barely against not great competition. They're not I don't know if I think Ellinger was kind of hurt a little bit, but they just don't seem the same. I think Oklahoma wins, and I would not be surprised if Oklahoma just blows them out.
I'll go for Oklahoma, but actually I'm gonna go for Oklahoma because they might get a little bit of fire since they lost last time.
Yeah, I mean that's
Are
it
they
too.
rivalries?
There's a rival, and Oklahoma's got a very real shot of getting into the playoffs. The college playoff committee, they were like 6 or 7. Number 4 lost, so that could move them up if they win this. If somebody above them loses, which Georgia would probably be going to number 4, and if they lose to Alabama, then that could open up a spot. Who knows what could happen? So Oklahoma has a very real chance of getting into the playoffs. So there's another big reason to win. Going to the first ever Sun Belt championship game. They split into divisions this year, and now they're playing for an actual Sun Belt title game. The Louisiana Raging Cajuns taking on Appalachian State Mountaineers. Appalachian State is actually one of 3 Sun Belt teams that could end up with 10 wins this season. Nobody knows that. And I'd have to look at the other conferences. I'm not sure if any other conference can actually say that, including the big boys. So,
wow.
I don't quote me on it yet, but thinking about it just off the top, maybe the SEC could, but even still, that would be quite an accomplishment. Louisiana, Appalachian State seems like overwhelming favorites. They're really good, top 10, 20 in offense and defense, basically nationally. But they did play each other early this year, and Appalachian only beat them by 10. It was 27-17. It was pretty close throughout. And Louisiana they have the offense, they have the team. I'm going to go with Appalachian State, though. I still think Appalachian State is better overall. So I think they will be the first Sun Belt Championship Conference title game winner.
I'll go for Appalachian State.
The CUSA Championship game. UAB, they were the best basically in the CUSA for most of the season. Middle Tennessee State sort of backed into this because Florida International lost, which clinched it for Middle Tennessee State. And the interesting thing is, though, yesterday UAB played Middle Tennessee State. And Middle Tennessee State beat them 27-3. And that's actually significant because whoever won that game would get to host this championship game. So this game's going to be in Middle Tennessee. So, and Middle Tennessee has one of the best quarterbacks statistically in NCAA history, and Brent Stockstill. UAB has had a phenomenal season. They have one of the best defenses in the country. I'm not sure if yesterday's game is an actual portrayal of UAB versus Middle Tennessee. This is kind of hard for me to pick. I still am leaning towards UAB because they've shown it to me all year. But then again, Middle Tennessee did just do that to them.
I mean,
I think I'm gonna say it ends up differently. I'm gonna go with UAB.
see, I don't know who to choose. I guess I'll go for UAB.
All right, American Athletic Conference Championship. Memphis against UCF.
Yeah, you know this.
This game is kind of it's seen. It's a huge game. UCF is still undefeated. They won 24 games in a row. If they win this, they're gonna go to a New Year's Six bowl game. But
With what happened?
yeah, and Memphis is one of the. They're both top 8 scoring offenses in the country. Top 10 total offenses. They played earlier this year. Memphis had a big lead. UCF came back and won by a point. This time, though, it's in Orlando. The game earlier was in Memphis. Memphis has maybe the best running back in the country, and Darrell Henderson, one of the best offenses, like we said. The difference this time around is UCF will be starting their backup quarterback because their star, their Heisman hopeful, their national title contender quarterback, Mackenzie Milton, he got a very serious injury to his knee that will knock him out the rest of the season and is very likely a career-ending injury. So he may never even play football again, which is just kind of sad. It kind of sucks.
He's really good.
He's
beyond good.
He's really, really good. He's one of the reasons. He's the biggest reason why they're on this 24-game winning streak. Darryl Mack, he's got potential. He's a redshirt freshman. He's been in the system for 2 years now, basically. So this game isn't all on Mack. They have a really good running game. They have 4 running backs that can go off. Their wide receiving core can still...
UCF.
Yeah, UCF's wide receiving core is still top notch. UCF's defense, this is the key really to me, more than even Mac, is Memphis's offense is really hard. They have really good players, not just the one running back. They had another running back against Houston last week go over 100 yards too. So this is a really tough game. I'm going to go with UCF. It's at home. They're going to have all the emotion on their side, even with Milton out, because he'll probably be on the sideline on crutches or whatever. And he'll give them a bolt of energy, something. They're going to want to win it for him, if not for themselves. So I'm going to go with UCF there.
I'm going for UCF as well.
All right, then we go to the biggest nationally relevant game is the SEC championship game, Alabama versus Georgia. Georgia will probably be 4 or 5. If Georgia wins, they're in the playoff. In fact, if Georgia wins, both Alabama and Georgia might be in the playoffs. That being said, Georgia's really good. This Alabama team may be the best team to ever play. I'm going to go with Alabama. They got Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. He just doesn't miss. He doesn't throw picks. He doesn't... If they're down, they're up. It doesn't matter.
I'm going for Georgia because I'm still going for that upset.
She wants the upset. This is her citadel. So... All right, the Mountain West Championship game, Fresno State and Boise State. This has become quite a bit of a rivalry the last few years because last year... Fresno, the last game of the season, last regular season last year, Fresno State actually beat Boise State. The next week, they ended up playing each other for the Mountain West Championship. Boise State ended up beating them for the Mountain West Championship. Earlier this year, Boise State played Fresno State. Boise State won, but it was really close. I can't remember the exact final score, but it was a close game, and now they're facing each other again for a championship. This is in Boise. I'm going to go with Boise State. Boise State, they showed something to me the other day. They beat Utah State, who's... Basically, Utah State has been going back and forth with Alabama as the #1 scoring offense in the country. Like, every single week, it's either Alabama or Utah State, right? And Boise State's defense, I mean, they gave up 24, but some of it was late. Their defense played awesome. Boise State's offense is always really good. Brett Ripien is one of the best in NCAA history, Mountain West history, whatever. Boise State, it should be good because Fresno, pretty much they're kind of mirrors of each other. Both offenses are like top 25 nationally. Both defenses are basically top 25 nationally. They're kind of even.
I'm going to go for Boise State as well.
The ACC championship game, Clemson at Pittsburgh. Clemson's, they're the #2 team in the country. If anybody can hang with Alabama, it wouldn't be them. It would be Oklahoma. But
Clemson's #2 and they couldn't hang with Alabama?
I'm not sure they could.
Their
offense is good, but...
Why are you #2? They can't hang with
They're still undefeated. Pittsburgh.
So was UCF.
Yeah, well. Pittsburgh, they won their ACC Coastal. They look pretty good. They got Quadri Allison at running back. He's a 1,000-yard rusher. Darren Hall, I think is his name. He's close to 1,000 yards this year. And yet they played a mediocre Miami team and got killed 24-3. So, and got held to only 69 total rushing yards. They held Clemson is going to eat their lunch and their chips and their dessert and everything. So they're going to have a second Thanksgiving meal. So I'm going to go with Clemson.
I'm going with Clemson, but I'm going for a different reason. I think you know why.
Why? Oh, because they're purple uniforms.
Yeah.
All right, in the final game of the day, of the week, of the year, Big Ten Championship, Northwestern Wildcats and Ohio State. Now, this is a surprise game for multiple reasons. Start with Northwestern. Nobody thought people thought maybe they'd make a bowl. You had Wisconsin, Iowa, other teams in the Big Ten West going. Northwestern hadn't won a Big Ten championship in over 20 years. Hadn't even been close. They won their division with 2 games to spare, actually. Part of it was they played well, and they capitalized on the fact that the rest of the division was down. The other teams weren't as good as they thought they would be. But Northwestern earned it. They got in. Ohio State, people thought they would be there, but they got there in the weirdest way. Not weirdest, but basically they were number 10. Michigan was number 4. Michigan had the number 1 defense in the country in every category. Whoever won the game yesterday between Michigan and Ohio State goes to this game. People thought it would be close. Not only was it not close, Ohio State beat them 62-39. Those 62 points are the most that Michigan has given up in the history of their school in one game ever. Not just to Ohio State, in any game ever. That is the most. Dwayne Haskins is a Heisman candidate, the quarterback for Ohio State. He's already set a Big Ten record this year with 41 touchdown passes. And he set an Ohio State record with over 4,000 passing yards. Their offense, honestly, I said Oklahoma could hang with Alabama. If Ohio State wins this and can sneak into the playoff, they might be able to take on Alabama. With their offense. Their defense is not great. I think Ohio State wins this one, though.
Okay, I'll go with Ohio State.
All right, so those are our conference championship picks and previews. Go check out our other previews and my reviews. We're going to do the NFL picks and stuff, so check out those. Peace. This is our final preview before the bowls for this season, and that won't be up for another couple of weeks. So the next week, I'll still do a review for this past game. The week after is the Army-Navy game, so we'll probably do something for that or whatever. But yeah, this is pretty much it until the bowl game. So
yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Just keep an eye out. We'll do some stuff before the end of the year. Peace.
See ya.
Bye.